Hello, and welcome to a little video about using elimination to solve systems of equations. And this one's just going to have a little bit more to it than what we had previously. For example, in number 1, you probably see that we do not have any opposites. However, we do have two of the same variables. They both have negative 9y's. I'm going to force one to be opposite by multiplying the whole equation by negative 1. Okay, so my top equation remains negative 2x minus 9y equals negative 25. Now let's distribute the bottom. Negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. Negative 1 times negative 9 is positive 9. And of course, don't forget the last number. Negative 1 times negative 23 is positive 23. We have officially created opposites. Check out the y's now. One's a negative, one's a positive. So now we can add our system going up and down. Negative 2 plus 4x gives us positive 2x's. The whole point of us doing this multiplication was to eliminate those y's, so off they go. Negative 25 plus 23 is negative 2, and we finish it up by dividing. X equals negative 1. Now, let's plug our x into either equation. I feel like using the first one. Negative 2x minus 9y equals negative 25. And then instead of x, I'm going to plug in that negative 1. Boop. Okay. Let's continue. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. My next step would be to subtract 2 from both sides of the equal sign. So negative 9y equals negative 27. And of course, finish it up by our infamous step of division. Y equals positive 3. And don't forget to write our answer correctly as negative 1, 3. All right. Number 2. Now in number 2, it's not like number 1. We don't have things that look exactly the same. We almost have opposites. We are so close to having opposites. Check out these x's, for example. One's a negative, one's a positive. But one's a 4 and one isn't. However, I can take the second equation, and if I just multiply everything by 4, that'll fix our problem. Check it out. The top equation stays the way it is, negative 4x plus 9y equals 9, but the bottom, 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, and 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. Now look at the x's. We forced the bottom equation to work for us. And now they'll cancel. This is perfect. Let's add everything. X's eliminate. 9 and negative 12 give us negative 3y's. 9 and negative 24 gives us negative 15. Divide by negative 3. Y equals positive 5. The second we find y, it doesn't really matter which equation we use to find x. I feel like using the second one. So I'm rewriting it and then plugging that y in. Okay, let's continue solving. X minus 15 equals negative 6. Add the 15 to both sides. And x equals 9. So our answer is 9, 5. Not too bad. Very similar to how we were doing it last week with the previous elimination, but we had that extra step of multiplying. All right, number 3. Now, number 3 does not have two things that are exactly the same like number 1 did. It doesn't even have one negative x and one positive x. They have both positive x's. So, since we have both positive x's, let's work with the x's. Let's make them be negative. So I for sure need to multiply one of them by a negative. But in order for them to have the same number in negative, I'm going to multiply the top equation by the 3 from the bottom equation. And the bottom equation will get multiplied by 5 from the top equation. Whoops. Now I'm giving my top one a negative because both x's in this system are both positive, and I need one of them to be negative for this to work. I could have made the 5 negative, but I made the 3 negative. Okay, let's see. 3 times negative 5 is negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. And negative 3 times negative 14 is positive 42. Let's do the same thing for the bottom equation. 5 times 3 is 15. Perfect. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 6 is 30. We forced our x's to be opposite. We multiplied the bottom one by the top number, the top one by the bottom number, and we made sure to make one of them negative. Okay, our x's cancel because that was the point. Negative 12 plus 30 is 18y. 40 plus 30 is 72. Let's divide both sides by 18. Y equals 4. Perfect. Now that we've got y, let's find x. I feel like using the second equation this time. If you're wondering how I pick, it's not just based off how I'm feeling. I also like to pick the one that has smaller numbers, smaller looking numbers. Does it ultimately matter? No. No, it does not. When I was doing this during class, every class period got a different, well, whatever they picked, that's where I plugged it in. All right. So I plugged in the 4 for y, and then I multiplied 6 times 4. Next, let's subtract 24 from both sides. 3x equals negative 18. And of course, let's divide both sides by 3 to get our final answer. X equals negative 6. So negative 6 comma 4 is our final result. All right, last one, number 4. So number 4, we do have a little bit of what we need. We have one negative and one positive variable. We have a negative 2y and a positive 7y. So since they're already almost opposite, just in the fact that one's positive, one's negative, let's make the numbers match. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by 7 and the bottom equation by 2. Since we had a positive and a negative, I did not need to multiply by a negative. If we did the x's, I would have, but we're doing the y's. All right, let's distribute. 7 times negative 4 is going to be negative 28x. 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. 7 times 14 is 98. Let's distribute the bottom as well. 2 times negative 10 is negative 20. 2 times 7 is 14. And 2 times negative 25 is negative 50. We forced our y's to be negative, so now we can multiply. Now we can add everything together. Negative 28 plus negative 20 is negative 48x's. The y's cancel, that was the point. And it equals positive 48. Let's divide both sides. X equals negative 1. Which one do I feel like choosing? I think I'll do the first one this time. Negative 4x minus 2y equals 14. And we're going to plug in the negative 1 for the x. Negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. Minus 2y equals 14. Let's subtract 4 from both sides. So negative 2y equals 10. And of course, let's finish this up by dividing both sides by negative 2. Y equals negative 5. And of course, don't forget to write your answer properly. Negative 1, comma, negative 5. So we learned 3 methods to solving these systems. Let's talk about what's good for all of them. Graphing. Graphing is good when both equations are in y equals form. Then we can plop them right into our calculator, graph them, find our answer. Substitution is good when one equation is in x equals or y equals form. Either way, that's when we can substitute. Lastly, elimination is good when both equations are in ax plus by equals c form, which means x's and y's on same side. Right. If you have any questions for myself or for your teacher, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of whatever day it is for you. Bye!